One thing that we seldom talk about is how to take care of yourself at camp. I mean, physically, taking a bath, keeping your nails clean, all that stuff that it really isn't too fun. But today, we're gonna work on a project. Well, it's sort of gonna be how to set up a bushcraft shower. Oh my God, bushcraft shower, you got to be kidding me. Nope, I'm not kidding you. We're gonna work on one today. So it requires, of course, some Y branches, a bucket, some rope, some sticks, but it's actually a pretty cool project. So you can warm up your water, put it in your little bushcraft shower, rinse off, and it's gonna be awesome. Let's just get this thing set up. For this project, you're going to need 2 Y branches. You can see how I cut those. One of the Ys have to be a little bit longer. The bottom base section is gonna be a little bit shorter. So 2 Y branches, some cordage, a big long straight stick, a little over 2 foot, short little straight stick, a bucket, and then I have some heavier rope. And once all your material is collected, you're gonna go ahead and identify where you actually wanna place your shower. Now I'm gonna use this branch for the video, but ultimately you would want this nice and high. If you don't have a branch that is growing in this direction, you can just put a rope up between 2 trees. That would work fine also. Just remember, you wanna have this up above your head so it washes down on you like a shower. We're gonna take our 2 Y branches, and I put notches on each one of these because I don't want these to slip out anyway. So notches are in place. I tied on some cordage, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to just tie these off onto this branch. Now I want to make sure when I go to tie these that they are very even, because this is ultimately what is going to hold our bucket of water in place. And voila, we have our 2 Y branches in place. So to adjust our bucket initially, make sure it's working right, we're gonna take a Y branch and face the opening towards the camera, one away from the camera, and it should lay in there pretty good. Even if it looks a little crooked up here, you need to remember the branch is twisted, so it's holding very well in that area. So we're good with this step. Now we need to move on to our pouring mechanism. Next, we want to grab our long stick and find this center point right where it's very well balanced. And we're going to tie this off with a clove hitch. So I have a little bit of line hanging off the side. We're going to come in between now our 2 Y branches above the handle of the bucket. Because remember, we need to be able to remove this bucket to fill it up with water. We're going to come up top about 2 inches above the handle. We're just going to tie this thing off in whatever fashion we like. I'm just going to use an overhand knot. That should work just fine. Now this is somewhat of an optional step, but I sort of like this. You take that small little stick that I found, and this is going to be our pull handle. So I just tied some rope onto this. I'm going to just put a lark's head knot on here and slide it onto the end or the front of that stick. So of course it's going to pull that stick down. So this ultimately is going to be our handle that's going to help tip the bucket. I'm going to then come to the back side of that stick, and I'm going to put another clove hitch in, and I'm just going to allow this line to, at this point, just dangle freely, because we're going to have to make some adjustments to this bucket in order to have it work properly. Now when it comes to adjusting your bucket and attaching all this, you need to think outside the box just a little bit, because it's going to depend on what type of bucket you have. In my case, I have a nice rim on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit more line, and I'm going to go around the rim of that bucket and just tie it off. So I'm going to tie that right around that rim. And then where that tie out ends, I'm going to just make a simple loop. So if I just put an overhand knot in about 1 inch or 2 up from that knot, it's going to give me a loop like this. And then I can use that little loop that I have to tie off the line that's hanging on my handle. Now at this point, this thing looks like some kind of crazy contraption, but actually it's just about set up. So what we need to do now is just give it a quick test. By pulling this handle down is going to tilt that bucket forward and allow water to pour out of it. Okay, this is where some fine adjustments with our tie outs are going to come into play. Do we need to move them left? Do we need to move them right to see where we want that to work? So as I pull this handle down, the bucket raises and it pours, raises, pours, raises, pours. And we made ourselves a quick and easy bushcraft shower. Let's go put some water in this, make the final adjustments, and see if it actually works. So at this point we have water in our system, and then with a simple pull of our handle, we very quickly start to pour some out. So it works very well. The hardest part of the system is taking your time to set up these Ys so it's nice and balanced. But if you had this thing up higher, you can stick the bucket up there, grab the handle, stand under it, and give yourself a quick little bath. So I hope everybody has enjoyed this video. This is like quintessential bushcrafting. This is it. Like making stuff out of what you have and what's around you to make camp life all that much more comfortable. Most of all, much more fun. I think if you did this with kids, they would absolutely just get a kick out of it. Plus you're getting to teach them a lot of good skills with knots and bindings and how to make a machine work. So there's a lot of different stuff that goes on here. But for the bushcrafter, it's another tool for the toolbox. Maybe you'll use it, maybe you won't, but either way, now you know how to do it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com, and until next video, stay in the woods.